Hello everyone, this is StrawberryShorty here with our Let's Play of The Letter, the Renegade Path. So we have killed everyone but Luke, who is currently watching Kylie. Pushed by the ghost, he murdered Hannah and framed Zach, and it'll be interesting to see how this interaction plays out with Hannah dead, because they do talk about her. Speak of the devil and she shall appear. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Kylie grids up at me as soon as I open the bedroom door. She swings the backpack she's clutching, hitting my leg in a show of impatience and looking entirely unapologetic for it.
Did you just wake up? Don't tell me you forgot. It's our playdate today.
I nearly did, really. It's hard to remember something as trivial as an ordinary playdate when there's murder fresh on one's mind. But there's this instinct, long ingrained, to act as if everything is normal despite the blood on my hands. Else I would have spiraled out of control a long time ago, and things wouldn't be as good as they are now. Besides, she's a bright child, tolerable. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders, a giant head. It can get pretty mature for her age sometimes. So skipping ahead a little bit, playing with Kylie. My darling Hannah loved her so, and Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter, but she just can't keep her interest long with the wife. It's not something that Hannah does wrong on her part. She does try so very, very hard, it's just that she doesn't quite know how to handle children. She'd never been around other children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults who catered to her every whim and worried for her safety every minute. When she isn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct is to be strict. Impose rules on the child, treat her as if she's made of spun glass, like every movement might break her. I at least have some idea from being around street kids. I know the games they've played and how they think. I know that the scraps and skin knees are all part of childhood. Even with how I grew up, I had time to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. With Kylie, as big as she can be with her toys and her books and arts, she has to use up all her energy somehow. Fortunately, Hannah wasn't quite up for those sorts of things most of the time, thinking it'll spoil the child. I turned a whole playdate awkward every time. Still talking with Kylie. She talks of Miss Pink and I have to shift my legs to become comfortable once more. The memory of the initial meeting with her still fresh in my mind. Is Rebecca dead? I think Rebecca's dead at this point. I wonder if she knows about it. The little brat is quick to defend her favorite academic as well. The woman has yet to offer a proper apology, and she wishes to give one on her behalf, all diplomatic like I taught her. She talks of the sad man in the park and of her new friend who likes to play hide-and-seek when she's not sniffling in the loo. You were drawing. I have fun with the crayons as well, at the child's insistence, even if I can't really draw. With Kylie using the black crayon, that leaves me with the yellow one. I absent-mindedly start to doodle flowers, which are just about the only thing I can actually do decently. We do a dog in the other timeline. What if we fill the page with yellow when Kylie breaks her silence?
Are you alright, Tio? I heard about what happened to Tia.
I feel as if the ground was pulled from underneath me for a moment there, caught off guard as I am. I was expecting a lot of different questions. The kid always has a whole bunch of them ready for me. But this? How much maneuvering do I have to do in order for her to drop this
And
topic?
what exactly did you hear?
They say that a bad man hurt her. Is that why she's not here right now, Tio?
Who told her that? That black man's arrest isn't exactly a state secret, but it isn't exactly common knowledge either. It only happened yesterday, after all. I asked members of the press who found out not to cover it until I am ready. To give me time to grieve, I told them. Complete bullshit.
The other grown-ups won't tell me when I ask. This is just like when my pet Pato disappeared! Papa and Mama wouldn't tell me what happened to him! They just told me that she's gone to a better place. Now they're saying Tia's gone, but they won't tell me where she went! All these days that they caught the bad man who hurt her! Please tell me, Tio! What happened to her? Is she gone too? Like Pato? Because of that man?
I want to know more about Pato. My answer catches in the back of my throat. It feels as if I'm drowning on air. It's like you said, a bad man hurt her. I killed her. That's the whole truth, no sugarcoating it, and there are 101 reasons why I cannot confess. But the most important reason in this moment is that, well, I don't want Kylie to be afraid of me. To see her bubbly face break into one of horror and disgust. If that happened, I don't know if I can keep on pretending that I'm anything but a monster. But I cannot find it in myself to lie to her. At the same time, telling the truth will kill me. She must have taken my silence for confirmation. Though I have to look away when she starts crying, only realizing then the dampness on my own cheeks. When my own shaking is too much for me, I hide my face in my hands, ashamed. It feels like forever where we don't say anything. I'm only pulled out of my own self-loathing and despair when I feel a light touch on my knee.
Tia was a really, really nice lady. She always smiled whenever I visit. And she wasn't mean. Even when I called her boring and my mama scolded me, she only laughed. We didn't play much, but she'd always give me a hug.
She was her godparent, after all. And not I, for all that the child liked calling me the fairy godfather. Hannah would always say that it's my fault that Kylie favored me more than her, called me a godchild thief in jest. But then, she would always look so proud of me when I took care of the child.
Oh, I'll miss her, Tio.
As do I. So very much, Munchkin. I miss our Tia so much.
And even with her teary eyes, she gives me a small smile. She moves her hand to grasp mine and gives my hand a gentle squeeze.
What about the babies? You miss them too?
What babies, Munchkin?
The nursery, sealed by police tape, comes to mind. Johannes knew of it. Not a complete surprise. But Kylie? Kylie knew? Wait. Babies? More than one? How many more knew that Hannah was with children even, before I found out?
The doctor said there were 2 of them. Tia and Tio's babies. They're twins. That's terrible, Tio. You forgot about them already?
She says more, but everything around me wavers, nausea building. Sounds around me dull down to a buzzing in the air, and I can only hunch over, stare at my hands, afraid that I would throw up. I feel sick. I'm sick. Well, they just jumped up to that one. I would have liked to have seen a follow-up of his thoughts there. With Hannah gone and the butler intentionally staying out of sight, Luke was left alone to watch over his godchild, Kylie Suarez. However, what was supposed to be a simple babysitting turned awkward when the precocious child began asking questions. So she was pregnant, and it was with twins, as I theorized. I do feel slightly bad for Luke in spite of all the horrible stuff he's doing. Because he was goaded by the ghost. And realizing that you killed the twins, like, oh, that's rough. I don't think I can spend any more time with Kylie, considering how high-strung I feel. So it is a good thing that Suarez came for her as soon as I called. Though it is earlier than the agreed-upon time, he voices no complaint. The bastard even has a look of relief as soon as they left. Or at least I interpreted it as such from where I've stood by one of the windows, not bothering to step out and greet the man. No doubt he still doesn't trust me around his spawn. Well, he has every right to be suspicious of me. I am a dangerous man, after all. But to my chagrin, that leaves me with the rest of the day with nothing to do. I was looking at the drawing. She drew Takako. We're in the ballroom. Hallucinating. Oh, we're seeing memories now! Last time we just saw, like, random stuff. It doesn't take long for these sensations to get into my head, through my eyes and my ears. It creeps and buzzes in the spaces between. A lovely meal in the gardens on a rare sunny day. The lord and his lady cannot be any happier, but one woman seethes, looking on in despair. Jealousy presents itself like wriggling worms trying to force themselves down my throat.
I'm so delighted you can be here with me today, my love. I miss you so.
She sounds like Hannah.
I am but your most humble servant, my lady. I do regret that the trades keep me away far too often.
I wonder if that's Luke's voice actor. I can't imagine Luke's voice actor sounding like a normal person.
But simply say the word and I'll...
Oh, hush. It is a little import now. All that matters is you are here, my love. Now enough of that. I have good news. Do you recall the confectionery we used to frequent? From the western edge of the village, down by the river?
I feel sick, utterly green in the gills at this sensation, lasting until its image is all but washed away by another. I want to know about the confectionery! She nearly drops her tray as she enters her lady's bedchambers. The lady is being taken against the wall, like a common street whore. The man is not her lord, her prince, but she is not of a station that will allow her to judge. That she doesn't keep the shock from her features or from her voice.
Milady, I brought the My apologies!
Her voice is small, subdued, and shy. Though the lady needs no words to express her displeasure as her face turns from one of pleasure into that of anger and accusation. Her clear bones, focused and scalding. If looks could murder, the servant girl would be dead where she stands. All the while her lover still moves in and out of her, either unaware of her audience or enjoying the act even more because of it. It hurts. She doesn't want this.
You lacked care. You forget your place, and you've indulged yourself far too much in this fantasy of yours.
This is vile, like vomit and sludge brushing against my skin before it covers me until I'm weighted down. Disgusting. Wrong. Stop
You've
it.
overstepped your boundaries and livery.
Stop it. This is wrong. Please.
May I remind you that you are nothing but a servant, a slave, an unattractive, unchaste harlot who thinks too much of herself.
Please, no more. My heart feels like it's seizing in my chest, like it's being squeezed and the pressure won't stop until it bursts.
Are you truly storming off over some hearsay? Be sensible!
I wonder if this scene changes depending on whether or not we got all of them.
What you did, it is... There are no words. You bring disgrace to this family. This rotten noble standing in front of me is not the cousin I grew up with.
You tell her, Edward.
This is not the lady I fell in love with. She would never do such unspeakable things, Charlotte.
I bring disgrace. I bring disgrace. I am not the idiot who's running off in the middle of the night. You promised, Edward. You gave me your word. Don't you dare turn your back on me. I swear to you, if you step 1 foot out of these lands, mark my words, Edward, I will.
What? What is it you swear? Will your men steal me away? Defile me too, like what you did to yourself?
There is an undercurrent of fear. I'm in danger, my head screams at me. And there is hurt, a deep burning shame I can feel on the woman's behalf. Looking at her on its own is a chore I cannot bear. Over and over it hurts. The pain, however, is not overbearing or blinding. It is the littlest of cuts and the bruising of flesh by blunt force. It dribbles down my cheek and my mouth. Do none of these men wear shirts? Oh, I guess he's wearing a shirt. Still. There's pounding in my head. It is not blinding, but that makes it all starker. Everything hurts.
Please, milady! He need not suffer! I beg of you, have mercy! You already have me to do as you please! He deserves none of this!
Why is this happening?
Silence. Before I cut out that impertinent tongue of yours and feed it to the dogs. You will watch and you will learn what happens when I am displeased.
What have I done to deserve this? Whispers and accusations fill every crevice of my head, ringing and echoing around like the terrible case of tinnitus. They stare, gazes filled with judgment and disgust. Even before their beloved lady has spoken, she's already condemned.
This horrid woman! I beg the court for justice! Who knows what this devil's bride is capable of? She has already bewitched my love, my betrothed. I just cannot bear to think of what she has done to him after. Or what else she may do to our people if we let her live. Blood taints this woman's hands, and I deserve to be repaid in kind for that which she has taken from me.
There is nothing for her but death, and she knows this. Her silence says as much. One after the other they come at me, an unending flood that threatens to sweep me away for what feels like eternity. Each one is show both joy and suffering for those who have called this mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. I can feel every little emotion and the blurry of images that present itself in my head. I feel a part of these, like I've lived through them, though I know that is not possible. All their anger burns through me, that much is evident, but the pain more so. And above all of it are the whispers, the voices calling, luring until one image emerges in vivid contrast with the others. When there's a shout of joy, my eyes snap open, looking for the culprit. That's when the whole room just changes. Everything is the same, yet everything isn't. There are people everywhere laughing and dancing, so we see the dancing. There's a horrid feeling of envy, and though I have long accepted that I'm a jealous person by nature, I have never felt such a strong feeling of envy as I have now. I think we're feeling the maid's feelings. Aye, they were happy with each other, these people, but Hana and I. Envy turned to anger, anger for something I could not have. But I have the feeling that yelling and screaming at them won't do much of anything anyway. None of the others have given me notice. I realize that this might not even be real. John's telling me that these two are the people from the paintings. The ones all over the mansion. Charlotte's horrible, by the way. The woman from the garden stands beside me. I can hear her rattling breath, menacing and chilling. Everything in me screams to run, but something pins me to the spot as she just looks at me, watching and waiting. The clamor of their voices fill the ballroom. Although they say such welcoming words, I do not feel comforted by the madness I'm experiencing. Their joyous voices turn sinister and foreboding to my ears. The chorus of people that shouldn't exist, threaten to overwhelm me, drown me even as I stand on dry land. The music still plays as the Phantom Quartet continues while I stand there, vulnerable and afraid, but the dance has already ended. And I'm afraid that I might just be to tonight's entertainment. Attention is all well and good, but until bullocks like this go down. These phantom people watch me, thousands of eyes scrutinizing that they cheer on my return, cajole me to dance and join the merriment. There are eager hands all over, pulling me in every direction, but they do not move me enough to remove me from the woman's gaze.
Listen. Can you not hear them as they welcome you home? You are one of us, my lord. We are bonded by the blood we've shed.
If I thought the voices were overwhelming now before, it's nothing compared to how they are now. So we flee, run into Johannes. He's protecting us. See, no problems at all, not until we get inside. I've rarely taken a step when my mobile rings. Looking at it shows an unmarked number, most likely from one of my boys. I don't even have the time to speak before a nervous voice breaks through.
Hey boss, it's Carl from LPD.
Carl, you work for him? Traitor! Alone, Luke heard voices coming from the nearby ballroom. When he decided to investigate, he was assaulted by memories not of his own. And at the center of it all is the same woman who appeared before him the day before.
We've sort of got a situation here at the precinct.
I recognized the voice and the name. Carl, one of the police in my payroll, and one of the few I've trusted to ensure the black man's guilt in Hana's murder is a done deal. To hear from him now promises nothing but more trouble and headaches.
More problems! More problems! For goodness sake, I don't really need any more. What is it?
Well, you know the missus's body, in the morgue.
Well, of course I know of it. Yes, what kind of nub did you take me for? I don't know why you're calling me about this, though.
See, boss, it's gone. Your wife's body is missing from the morgue, and the coroner who was looking it over as well. Dead.
I expected many a thing, maybe the coroner asking for twice the usual pay to muck things up because of Hana's celebrity status. Or was a hiccup in the system that needed expert advice from one of my lawyers. A disappearing corpse and a dead coroner.
What?
Yep, I don't know. We haven't looked through security tapes yet, but I thought you ought to know, and...
Then, go look at the security tapes before bothering me with this, you incompetent fool.
What do I even pay these people for if I have to do everything myself?
Listen to me, and listen to me good. I have problems of my own right now. So, if you'd like to keep your tiny head on your tiny shoulders, you'd best go look for the body and not bother me about it again. Is that understood, Carl?
No, sir. I mean, yes, sir. Of course, what was I thinking wasting your time with this, huh? Me and A are going to deal with this. No problem.
Some Carl. Oh, me and A? Not Abigail, too? Is everyone working for this guy? At times, as time and experience proves, if money doesn't work, threats do, at least for the moment. But it's good enough for me if it gets me off this call and back to making sure I am safe.
Who was that? One of those incompetent officers from the LPD.
I thought he learned about Zach. Are the eyes still under the bed?
They say Hana's body is gone from the morgue. Can you believe them? I don't even want to think about what happened to it right now. Fucking Christ, will this day not end?
I feel tired, so tired. The only thing keeping me awake is the thought that that woman is still somewhere out there. The thought of just sleeping through it all while Johannes keeps guard is just heavenly right now.
Whatever. They'll call back later.
You're not worried?
Well, what do you want me to do? Drive to the city and try to look for the corpse of my wife? 1, Shrokin, the city is big. 2, it's LPD's job to keep an eye on the corpse. They didn't, it's their mess to fix.
For the moment, at least, I just don't see what other problem that might pop up from this. We have a scapegoat, I have an alibi, Harvey will make sure that... I'm not gonna say that word just in case. We'll be convicted. Money, reputation, connections, the company I've built, everything. I have it all. That's a reason to be happy, right?
Now, if you'll excuse me, since you insisted I stay here, I might as well get some rest. Leave, Shrokin.
Of course.
Despite his words, he lingers. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he wants to make sure I get in that damn bed and sleep before he turns away from me. What am I, a child? Watching me and treating me like one? There's the reason why we will never get along.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Nothing. I just hope you're happy.
Verily, now mush!
As you wish.
Only then does he seem to get the hint. With a nod, he leaves and locks and closes the door behind him. Bumping into Luke after his flight from the ballroom, Johannes quickly ushered the paranoid man to his room, while the house's security looked for the trespasser. Suddenly, an officer from LPD called and informed Luke that his wife's body had gone missing from the morgue. The nod, he leaves, for a moment, I still hear his voice while he gives the guards firm instructions. Footsteps fade away. It's a hush, doesn't quite last. As quickly as the silence settles in, lightning flashes across the sky, followed immediately by the loud boom of thunder. And that winker strikes so dangerously close, I can feel the electricity in the air. The power goes out not a second later, and as I feel as if I'm being mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deathly still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than light drizzle. This is the same stuff from before! Yeah. Goes to bed. I'm safe here. LPD will find her, and when I wake, I won't have anything to worry about. It does not take long. Once my head hits the pillow, in a matter of minutes, darkness claims me, bringing with it laughter and whispers of a twisted love from a long time ago.
Who are you? Stay away!
Sweet dreams, my love. It'll be over soon.
Whose voice was that? Yet in spite of the unfamiliar voices and unwanted touches from shadows lurking in the darkness, rousing is a slow, arduous process.
You do not belong there, my love.
Not that I mind getting a few extra hours, of course. The bed's more comfortable as it is after an exhausting day yesterday. Babysitting Kylie, the stress of finding an intruder in my home, not to mention those bloody eyeballs they left. I think I deserve a little break every once in a while, especially after going through all that in a single day. I can only be on the receiving end of so many unacceptable things within the span of a few hours, you know. I'll let the butler take care of that little problem with Hana once the Dunder heads from the LPD call for an update. While Hana's body is still missing. Hana's still missing and the trespasser's still out there.
You do not need her. I am here. We are here. This is where your home is. Where you belong. For all that blood you shed. Come back to us.
How long has it been since? Is finding a dead body really that hard?
Surely there should have been an update by now. Alright?
So why isn't there?
Please don't go.
Bloody hell, the cretins I've surrounded myself with.
And isn't that enough reason to force myself out of bed? I would be crossed if she were still here. By the open window. Or open balcony door. Then it's an immediate problem. If anything, it's this power outage we should be minding first. Well, the delay is understandable in the storm, but the house has given him another problem to fix. Bloody rush jobs. My safety's at stake here. But of course, right after I've made the effort and I'm already dressed and on my feet, not even waiting for my permission, the door swings open and in comes Strokin, striding into the room like he owns the place. No respect for authority at all. If he does pause midway to glance at where I at, once he notices the empty bed, look on his face when his eyes land on me. I can't decide if he's simply cautious or scandalized. Last I checked, I look decent enough. Is it the hair?
Oh, you're already up.
But really, why do I let him get away with such disrespect? Why do I keep anyone? Sometimes I think I'm better off alone, you know? Then again, I wouldn't have anyone to boss around if I lived on my own.
Did you come in here just to sass me? And before you do that, I'll have you know that I've been calling you for a good...
We have a problem.
He says that as if he's simply talking about the weather and not a problem. Not that I find anything new in it. Man's humor has always been dry as a bone. You won't even know he told a joke until there's an awkward silence in the room. Probably why this irks me. Because if there's one thing ever since we started living in this mansion that has remained consistent, it's that word. Somehow every single day we have to deal with a problem. I'm not entirely sure how exactly he's expecting me to react after dropping another bomb like that on me. Just after waking up at that. Top upon his dead body missing, this power failure, and that woman who keeps trespassing in my home. Forgive me, I have every right to be cheesed off in the middle of the night.
What do you mean we have a problem? Haven't we had enough for one night? Good lord. Do I have to be the one to fix everything, every little issue that pops up in this house? Do I have to be there every single time? Can't you just fix it?
My men know how I dislike doing legwork unless it's of the utmost necessity and importance. If I did do something on my own, it's only done in the direst of situations. That or I must be very, very bored.
I can, but I thought you might want to see this one for yourself. Before any disposal occurs.
For all my exasperation over this, he sure does know how to get me interested.
Where?
He's in the study right now. Sound asleep, though it won't be long before he wakes up. I found him nosing around the attic. Odd, if you ask me. Not quite sure why he went there. A doorway, and he would have gotten easily to you.
Yeah, how did you let that happen?
Unless you're not the reason why he's here.
He? So there are, what, 2 different people trying to get to me?
That's already one too many to deal with. What is wrong with these people?
Possibly. There might be more. You really aren't a likable sort, and this shouldn't be surprising anymore. Didn't you used to count how many enemies you've made? I believe it was a yearly thing. Or have you already stopped?
Normally, I'd point out Hana likes me well enough. After all, that's all that matters, or at least it used to. But she's already dead, killed by her own husband. Even if I say she loved me in life, the fact that she died by my own hands is already enough reason for her to hate me.
Why do you
death.
even care if I'm still counting or not? And we're wasting time here. Come on now, lackey. If you say he's in the study, to the study we go. And mush.
Sometimes I must wonder how well you sleep at night. And why I haven't smothered you yet.
I can only laugh in amusement and shake my head as I step out. He must have some fondness for him, because he can say, oh, my family, but, like, I feel like Johannes' family would not be in danger if he killed Luke. Luke Bright woke up to a storm raging outside with his whole house eerily quiet. Power was still off and no one answered, even when he called out. To his relief, Johannes showed up moments later, bringing news he might be interested in. I can laugh in amusement and shake my head as I step out, but I don't grace this question with an answer, though I have something in mind. Perhaps it's because I'm a fun boss. Tonight we really are going to have lots of fun. I haven't looked forward to something in a while. Bloody, I don't think I've done this enough for these past few years. It actually does feel quite refreshing to be back doing what I'm used to, even if it's only for one night. And after we're done with him and get what we need from him, there'll be one less problem to worry about. Win-win if anyone bothers asking me. Things are finally looking up. The idiot's still unconscious when we march into the study. Though with the rolling pin sitting so completely out of place atop my desk, I'm not shocked. Getting hit by one must have dislodged his brain by a few paces. In fact, I'm already willing to bet he'll be out until sunrise. Here's to hoping the way Shrokin has cuffed him won't damage him first. Being bound like that is guaranteed to cut off circulation in his arms at some point. Painful, but where's the fun in that? He has the gall, though, walking into my home looking like a little pig fresh off bathing under the sun and rolling in a patch of mud. Just because you're trespassing or about to kill someone doesn't mean you have the right to walk into other people's homes dirty. Really, sloshing your muddy boots about and sullying the floor. No wonder he got the metal rolling pin and not the pan. Bloody, even my late mom, bless her poor tortured soul, won't tolerate that. Where are his manners?
I swear! People need to stop breaking into my house! What is wrong with all these lunatics? You'd think they'd put more thought before stumbling into somebody else's home unannounced. This on top of my wife's dead body, which is missing from the bloody morgue.
I suppose the act of committing crime must have some attraction to the insane. Of course, you'd know all about that, wouldn't you?
I'd bloody gut you. But you won't be able to clean up after if you're the sorted corpse, will you?
More than that. A look of pain crosses his pretty face when I grip his chin with faint glee. He appears familiar. I just can't recall where I've seen his mug before. Certainly not at a place I frequent, although for someone who looks, well, still not as good looking me, of course, but to some degree decent, he seems to lack the brain capacity and etiquette to complete the package. Disappointing, I might add. But with that fancy coat, he better prove interesting to make up for it. Light marks mar his skin where my nails dig into him, and I have to wonder how much more I have to push before I break skin. I don't have time to figure it out, though, as a moment later, the little pig stirs with a soft
I'd
groan.
love to see you try. When was the last time you... Oh, there we go. The dumb cop is waking up.
Fuck. Huh, awake already. He's only been out a few minutes. Shrokin, did you not hit him hard enough? Shouldn't he be out longer? That rolling pin was made of metal. His skull must be very thick.
I only want to knock him out, not kill him, silly man. If I really wished him dead, I could have easily targeted his pterion. That, or the back of his neck, just below the skull. Oh well, look at it this way. It is good news. This means he'll be capable of giving you the answers you seek, yes?
True. I do have many questions for our trespasser here.
At least he does prove to be fun, if a little frustrating with his act. Especially when it is my turn. When was the last time I've had to interrogate anybody? It's been a while, hasn't it? I do hope I haven't gotten rusty. But I do remember the basics. And one of the first things one has to remember is to make sure the poor sap who got the short end of the stick can't fight back.
I'm telling you. You saw that letter, didn't you? I don't know how it works, but everyone who's seen it ends up dead, or in an accident if they don't go missing entirely. I know this sounds crazy, but you have to believe me.
And we're back to the madman ramblings.
He believes me a fool, saying that he came here to help me rather than harm. If that isn't the worst excuse I've heard, I don't know what is. I want to make him regret thinking he can play me like a fiddle.
You do not deserve to be treated the way you did, taking you for a fool.
I say it time and time again, there's always a certain joie de vivre in having power over another man. Schadenfreude, Johannes calls it. Not absolute power, mind you. I always like a little spark, a little spice, a little fire in my poison of choice, whether it's alcohol, food, or sex, or even enemies. Easy is boring. A little challenge never hurt anybody, because there's little point in hurting someone who won't even fight back. There's no satisfaction in trying to win against another who would rather grovel, cry, and beg at one's feet, curled up like a little child, wailing for their mother
And when we're done with him, there's a nice plot of land for new daffodils. You'll make excellent fertilizer.
Sounds like a plan, doesn't it?
And where was I? Ah yes, there's a joy in bringing men like the detective to the brink of despair, to have them realize that they have little power in the face of harsh reality, and making them concede that I am the better man using the business end of my
While
knife.
we're at it, why don't you be a good boy and close your eyes? I really don't like the way you're looking at me. If looks could kill, really. I think I'd be dead on the spot. Close your pretty little eyes, unless you want me to pluck them out with a spoon.
Some might call me a sadist, and some might even go further and call me a monster. I do admit to the former. And a small part of me fears that I love the thought of being the latter.
It is of no consequence, my love. I am here. It is all that matters. Us.
But at the end of it all, I am just a man who hungers for excitement, for power, for control. Fortunately, or perhaps fortunately for him, he passes out not too long into it, hanging limp from where he's been shackled, blood dripping into the floor from every wound we've inflicted on him.
Mad props to little pig, though. All that effort from us, and we still got nothing from him. Tough little bastard.
Either he's been trained for this, or he's simply lost consciousness before he can spill anything. Meanwhile, Shrokin makes a face at the mess we've made, although wisely keeps his mouth shut. He has no place to complain when I've given him enough freedom tonight, and he's as responsible for this. Without a single comment or a dry quip, he's out the door, muttering something about getting a disinfectant and some cleaning effects from the kitchen, leaving me in the silence of the room. Or silent as it can be with a storm raging outside. The winds have intensified, the windows and rafters have begun creaking in earnest. Any harder, and I think this whole house might fall. I hope not. I did not live this long to die hopelessly under a bunch of century-old beams collapsing on me. I'd rather be burned alive and be condemned for my sins, really. Makes for a great exit when you think about it. Thankfully, it's a thought that doesn't linger long. Soon enough, Stroken returns, slamming the door open with much force. I almost jump. He looks frazzled, hair and suit in disarray, as if he's just made a mad dash from the kitchen or he's seen a ghost. Although he's still far from a person panicking, it's the closest he can get to it with a wild look in his eyes. And slowly, like he's easing me into it.
We have another problem, right?
Again?
Too close. Too close to drawing my gun and just shooting him if I didn't have the patience of a saint right here and there. He should be grateful this little activity with Little Pig has taken some of the tension I'm carrying since yesterday.
Oh, tell me, Stroken, Johans. How many more of these little problems are there for me to fix tonight? What the bloody fuck is it this time?
That inner architect we lost?
Marianne. Inner architect. Interior architect. Did my brain translate that right?
Wait, what? Mint? What about Marianne?
I found her.
To say this doesn't worry me might be a bit of an understatement. His secretary has called us yesterday looking for her. How would you find her, though? She's in the wine cellar. Unless there was another weird time slip. The last time people had seen her was before the party, here. Then suddenly she shows up again in the same place she went missing? There will be a whole slew of problems attached to this.
What do you mean you found her? I know her assistant said she's been missing over the weekend, but goodness. Did she get locked in... where? The cupboards? The wine cellar? I know she's Irish and they have a reputation, but that's hilarious if true.
Did she sneak in and get stuck here? Please don't tell me she was just drinking the weekend away down there. This was priceless. I half wish Johannes would just carry her right out of there just to make fun of her.
Oh God, where is she? Oh, I've got to see this for myself. I could use a win tonight.
However, there was no humor in the other man's look, even as I nearly bust my gut laughing.
Right. She is dead. It is her corpse, and it is not at all a pretty sight.
Now that he's mentioned it, I have noticed a sickly sweet smell wafting from the cellar door in the few times I've passed by. I thought that, perhaps, it was another wine bottle dropped by another dillard from the staff. You didn't bring it up? But now this has come to light, it might be the rank stench of old meat and cheap perfume, of a body gradually decaying. And knowing what it is, or rather, who it is, makes you want to throw up.
Jesus bloody Christ! How even? Has no one been down there to check the stocks?
Not since the party, no.
And she, what, starved to death down there?
It can't be. It hasn't been long enough for her to starve. It'll take 3 weeks for someone to actually starve to death. Moreover, even if it is wine, there's plenty for her to drink down there to at least keep from going for 3 or 4 days she's been down there for.
I did not linger long enough for a proper look. It looks like her head has been nearly cut off. Rather poorly at that. You could take a look if you like.
I don't think I want to see that, no. But I can't come up with a wittier, scathing denial to his kind offer, and as my mind struggles to just let this all sink in.
Bloody hell! I just want to go to bed. Forget all this shite ever happened. Can this day possibly get any worse? Anyway, let's just get this whole thing over with. The cellar, right? How can a person just die right there?
And unable to answer that question, there's a long while where the both of us are quiet, and nothing but the pitter-patter of the rain fills the air while we head for the cellar. And all of a sudden, there's nothing funny about this anymore, and taking the gun with me seems a good call. Unable to get any information from the detective, Johannes left to find something they could use to clean the bloody mess in the study. When he returned, however, he claimed to have found their missing interior designer in the wine cellar, dead. And there they... Fuck. I also need a drink. I always was under the impression that the study was on the first floor and attached to that sitting room we were all in before. Really, if I can, I will not give a flying fuck about this. Johannes can just get rid of the body and be done with it. But whoever had the audacity to leave a dead interior designer, a well-known one at that, in my home needs to be taken care of. To leave that kind of loose end is dangerous. I'd rather not have a knife in the back while I sleep, and I certainly don't want to be accused of murders I'm not even responsible for. It would be embarrassing to have trouble because of a frame-up. Jesus Christ, I can feel a headache coming on already just thinking about all this. How did it come to this? It's one bad luck after another. The only thing we did was buy a house, for fuck's sake. We didn't ask for extras like this. It is a good thing no one comes down here unless there's a need to restock the kitchen's wine supply. Not without reason, and not without Johannes or myself ordering them. I don't go down here myself. I may have a penchant for good wine, but I don't go through this supply that fast. Because it's obvious by the smell that something really died in here, and the reality's just sinking into me now. Going by it alone, it has been here far longer than a dead body should be left stuck in an enclosed space. To sum it up, it's horrendous.
It takes somebody without a nose to get through this horrible stench. Please don't tell me it's not too far from here.
She's just on the other side of this shelf.
Oh, great, more walking.
It's been a while since I last had to tolerate the stench of a rotting corpse. Perhaps for that reason why a whiff of this one comes off worse when it shouldn't. Isn't there some kind of rule in this? Shouldn't there have been a delay of some sort for it to smelling like this? Or perhaps it's just because I'm no longer as used to it as I've been in the past. It has been years. No wonder my first instinct is to balk, my back hitting the wall once her body comes into view. Shrokin removes the handkerchief covering her face.
Fuck, what the hell happened to you, Mint? Oh, that looks horrid.
She likely died from the wound first.
Where I can easily pretend that the other corpse I've seen in my life are just sleeping. The same does not apply to the other woman. The slit on her neck is a jagged mess. Thanks to the room's humidity, decay has just started. Elsewhere, she would have already started rotting, eaten away by maggots long before we even found her. For a moment, once the horror has passed, I consider pinning her death on that man, like I've done with Hana's. Why should I even? Nobody else knows of her just yet. We can just make her body disappear, along with the detective once we're done with him. That'd be the simpler route, but this will have to be decided later. Suddenly, Shrokin gestures for me from the other side of this passage. Just a few paces away from McCullough, he stands, glaring at some part of the wall as if it has offended him. I raise an eyebrow in question, but he merely answers with a gesture of his
Another
hand.
thing you need to see.
And I immediately know why. Where his eyes are trained, a door lies slightly ajar, one that shouldn't have been there in the first place. A frown quickly appears on my forehead. A frown appears on your forehead. As I stare at it, and where it offers a small glimpse of the room on the other side. I can barely see anything, but from what little my eyes can catch beyond the darkness.
Are those jail cells?
So it seems, I'm afraid.
Whoa, what? In my own home? Underneath my own house? Right in the place where I sleep and live?
You have not been made aware of this?
Obviously, do you see this face? Do I look very happy about this? Do I look unsurprised about this? What else is in there? Bones! Oh, more dead people! Oh, Christ, how many? Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
For someone who is used to putting bullets in other people's heads, you're very cross about this.
Oh, what did you expect? There's a dead interior designer over there. Lunatics have been going in and out of my home, and now I find out that there are places in this bloody mansion I haven't been made aware of, full of little surprises for myself or the fucking police. So yes, I am very cross about this, Shrokin. What's next? A magical, mystical, spooky graveyard in my bathroom?
I like this voice actor.
Did that estate company know about this? Is that why they had no problems just handing it to us?
I like to think they'd have gotten rid of the bodies at
You
least
were
first.
very eager to buy this place off their hands, though.
Technically, Hana was.
I am most definitely not very eager now.
Why don't you think of it this way? At least now you know where those trespassers might be coming from.
I suppose you have a point. How far does this thing go?
Quite a few places, it seems.
There's only darkness on the other side. Fortunately, I'm sober enough to ever think of venturing into this place. Who knows where this will take me? Maybe when I'm drunk, I'll be curious enough, but Shrokin has made a valid point. And if this is their point of entry, we better look into it and bar it as soon as possible. We've had so many close calls just this week, I'm not taking a chance.
Well, get on it. I want wherever this place leads to closed and sealed tightly. We've gotten enough magical surprise trespassers in this house.
It'd be kind of funny if he really was an innocent guy, and just this kept happening to him. He makes no further comment, but the man does give me another long-suffering look before pushing the door open and stepping into the poorly lit tunnel. There's a bit of struggle at first while he tries to get a stable footing, testing the steps with a few light taps of his sole. Soon he's on his way, his treads echoing loudly inside the empty passage. Curious, I follow after him without crossing the threshold. From where I stand, I can barely see anything apart from the cells close to the door. There's a light draft blowing from the other end, carrying it with it this old, musky smell. I don't want to think that might be. Merely looking into the cavern gives me chills. As if every shadow there's an eye watching me, calling for me. Eerie. There's no other word for it but eerie. The sound of Shrokin's footfalls abruptly stopping certainly does not help.
Shrokin, how is it?
Silence.
Shrokin!
From somewhere, something scampers, its sound quickly fading as it moves farther from me. Still no response from Johannes, however. As aggravating as that man is, I'm beginning to worry.
Johannes! I know you're there!
Another breeze blows in. This time, it's as if there's someone whistling on the other end. Or maybe that's just my imagination.
Hey, Johannes! If this is your idea of a...
I never get to finish that. For the rest of it slips out of my mind, without any preamble, the door slams shut, and reverberating above the loud thud it leaves in its wake is a scream. Shrill, blood-curdling, almost harrowing the way it sends a sharp chill in every nerve in my body, and along with it is a familiar voice.
Who are you?
That is not a voice, that is more like a groan.
No. Stay away. Stay away.
That does not sound like his voice. I don't know what's going on the other side. The door shut tight, showing no signs of budging open no matter how much I push or pull it. There's no way of knowing. However, the sounds filtering through that closed door is enough to make my knees buckle and shake. This isn't fear. I want to believe this isn't fear, but it's definitely the closest I can get to it. Horrid. It's nothing but horrid that I can almost see flesh being ripped apart with every second the noise lingers. I need to get away.
Oh God. Oh God. I am going to sue those people. I am going to sue every bloody goddamn person who sold us this house. I need to get my lawyer. And...
Stumbling back, the back of my shoes catches on something. My foot slips, sending me tumbling down on my hind. It takes a moment before I notice a wetness seeping into my pants, and another second later to realize it's blood, McCullough's blood, which still shouldn't be wet. But there's no movement left to feel repulsed by the thick metallic scent as it sends into the air, or how Mint's eyes stare blankly at me. Her laughter is getting close. Without thinking twice, I'm picking myself up the floor and scrambling for the larder, the smell of blood and rotting corpse be damned. In 5 seconds flat, I've ascended and closed the hatch behind me. Bolting it shut with not one but 2 locks I can find from the cupboards and throwing the keys away. I don't even consider waiting if I've managed to keep whoever it is there. The second the last lock clicks into place, I'm out of the damn kitchen. Why wouldn't you just leave the house? Running as quick as I can, as if any minute whoever finished stroking will jump from the cellar and grab me. At some point in my panic, I've also drawn my pistol, the closest thing I have to comfort after that. Who is she? Shrunken said she doesn't recognize her from my description. An outsider? A daughter of another businessman that holds a grudge with me? I seriously can't remember who, if she is. There are plenty of them. Well, there's Suarez, but Kylie's a darling child. She won't ever hurt Tio Luke. Who then? Why did you mistake that for Kylie? She's tiny and has blue hair and a giant head. The only person who I can think of right now who could give me answers is that little pig, who should be soundly asleep in the study. That fucking mongrel is in on this, isn't he? Working together with that woman, getting caught on purpose so we can distract us and get to me? And what of Hana? What do they do to her? Are they also the reason why she's missing? He's a police officer. He likely has easy access to where they are keeping Hana's corpse. A bullet to the head is the least he deserves for creating this nightmare.
That's right, my love.
He should be stoned to death.
You don't need them.
Burned.
Make them pay.
To make up for every single wrong he's done.
Wrong they've done to us.
Upon my entrance, the door leading to the foyer burst open with a loud clap, accompanied by the rumbling thunder outside. The downpour has intensified, and lightning streaks across the night sky more frequently than hours before. I ignore all of it, heading straight for the stairs with only my purpose in mind. And her whispers, leading me, calling me, beckoning.
We don't need them.
But short of my foot taking on the first step of stairs, a noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movements while curiosity takes over every murmurs in my head. And it's a good thing, perhaps, that I did, because as soon as I look up, I see him. The detective. Just as he's about to jump down from the furniture that is somewhat lit up piled up blocking the door to the parlor. What happened here? And did he really think getting out of this house would be that easy?
My lord, put him in his place.
My feet are already moving before any rationale can stop me. A hand firm at my gun when I finally realize the safety from it and take aim at him. My finger on the trigger is more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. More than seeing him bleed, I want to see the expression on his face once he realizes everything he's doing is futile. He's trapped. His life's in my hand.
Well, you aren't as incompetent as I thought.
I can tell the exact moment the realization dawns on him. A short second, his body freezing and blood draining from his face as soon as his feet hit the floor. He wastes no time drawing his own gun, but by then it's too late. He's already prey. Trapped by his own recklessness.
Pathetic.
Still he glares at me. Still he fights back.
Now, little pig. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
Yet there's no desperation in him like I'm hoping, just an annoyance flickering shortly before being hidden underneath the challenge. Likes of him are the kind of people I hate the most. Even with their failures already glaring down at them, mocking every worthless move they make, they have the impudence to stare people
Why
in
don't you
the
put
eye.
yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back the gall. You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Annoying most of the time, like a damn pest you can't be rid of. But to some degree it is commendable. I'll give him that. After all, we're almost the same in that regard. Almost. I'm still the better person, of course. He tells me to put the gun down, but I see no reason why I should. I'm a homeowner in defense of my own home. I have a right to, I'd like to think. Questionable permanent firearms aside. Bloody peasants. Even knowing that, I can never seem to figure how their minds fully work. And I should have also expected he won't let this end in this kind of standstill.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
Short lapse, that's all it is. One moment of letting my guard down. Before I can react, he fires 2 shots in quick succession. The sound crackling through the empty foyer almost as loud as the storm raging outside, breaking the tense air in the room. Pain explodes in my wrist, no 2 seconds later, just a graze. However, it's enough to cause my fingers to tense and the pistol slides to the floor with a dull thud.
Why, you insolent!
The next moment happens in a blur. In the following second, I'm being tackled bodily to the ground, back hitting the cool floor, and an arm pinning me down by the neck. There's a fleeting minute of panic and struggle while I try to untangle myself from him before he manages to knock me out. And then, a scream. A wail piercing through the thick air. Clearly you weren't knocked out. Shrill and sharp enough for the both of us to cover our ears and hunker down on our knees. And with each sharp note beating harshly against my head are the images again. Faces and voices so utterly unfamiliar, seeping into every crevice, turning sinister with each shift. They are not mine, but they might as well be with how vivid and crisp they appear. Over and over they will flash behind my eyes until it becomes unbearable, pounding, throbbing, thudding against my skull worse than any headache a hangover can give. Bloody, I'll take a hangover over this any day. Haze begins to fill my vision as black spots dance around the corners of my eyes. Beside me, the detective suddenly falls, muttering something quietly to himself as something distinctly red flows from under him. Blood, perhaps. In the blurry mess of my vision, it doesn't quite register. Nothing does. Except for the voice unexpectedly ringing above the discord, and when I finally gather my strength to look up, everything falls away into the background. All that matters is her.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool. How does dying alone feel, Ashton Frey?
Hannah? You're not supposed to be here.
For a moment, I wonder if it had been me who had died and not her. After all, that can be the only logical explanation as to why I hardly draw a breath while she stands there. Of course, another logical explanation would be that I'm high and this is a really, really bad trip. Either reason doesn't suit me. Though I can't very well be the former, even from down here I can see the blood that stains her dress. Seeing that makes me feel as if my hands are covered in them once more. Warm and sticky, sweet and sickly.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. You look so upset. Are you not happy to see me?
But let's be honest here, any explanation, any reason as to why a dead woman walks once more is a bad one to me. Especially when it's one that I've killed. I mean, how even? What sort of sick joke is this? Not that any of this still matters, weak as I am, with this headache crushing my skull, bearing down on me with a weight that leaves me gasping. Soon, despite my efforts to fight it, the entire room tilts forward and the floor rises to meet my face.
Don't worry, my love. Everything will be over soon.
Above the deafening din of thunder and the howling of the winds, her sickening laughter is the last thing I hear before the blackness spreads and claims me. My whole body seizes with a gasp violent enough to wake me. Just as soon, my eyes fling open, looking wildly around, searching for that familiar, sickening smile. There's a brief moment of confusion when I don't find her and see only an empty room before me. The storm still rages outside, with a draft sweeping into the room from the balcony door I'd forgotten to close last night. In a far-off horizon, lightning cuts sharply through the dark sky, illuminating everything in sight before disappearing with a boom of thunder at its heels.
A dream. It must have been a dream.
Yet it all feels too real. The migraine still pounding in my head serves to remind me of that. But maybe it's because I haven't eaten anything since this afternoon. Coupled with everything going on in this bloody mansion the past week, I no longer have any doubts what this is. Stress. Just stress. What else can it be? Everything will pass soon, this headache will be gone tomorrow, along with every fucking problem, and all will be well.
Fucking nightmares!
The expensive mattress and pillow feels heavy under my tired body when I flop back down on it. Burying my face into the soft Egyptian cotton and simply laying still makes the idea of sleep especially inviting. With this irritating pounding in my head, it's impossible to get even a single wink of rest. Without the alcohol, I'm going to have it rough trying to calm down her sleep. I suppose now is as good a time as any for that drink. Hana won't approve, of course, but she's no longer here. Perks of being a widow and all that. Throw the blankets aside and rush outside before another bout of regret hits the pit of my stomach. She's gone. She's dead. Just like all the other people in my life, nuisance or otherwise. Only I remain. Nothing else matters. It's dark, but the large windows of the foyer illuminate the area much more easily than any of the other rooms. That's the smallest of blessings I can ever ask for, in the hopes that I can go to bed after this little trip without further incident. But I have to stop in my tracks as something catches my eye. Carefully I draw closer, and on the floor a smear. In the darkness it's impossible to tell what it is, but it has left an ugly track, disappearing underneath the door leading to the dining room. Whoever left this here will have to answer to Johannes in the morning. He hates seeing mess, be it mud tracks or the tiniest drop of wine on the serving platter. Bastard. For now I follow it, letting it guide me in this darkness, even if I feel its purpose is anything but. Taking amusement in imagining how Shrugan's expression will change from surprise to disdain upon seeing it. However, I can only feel disappointment once I open the doors to the kitchen. There are only empty wine bottles, put aside to be cleaned and stored for collection, and I can't be bothered to try and find out where Johannes has hidden the absinthe on Hannah's orders. Even in death, she continues to bug me like this, keep me from my beloved wine. I do have other options, although I'd rather not go down to the wine cellar myself, especially in this darkness. When needs must be satisfied. Can't be helped when that need is to wind back is monumental, right? And I really need this fucking drink. Even the smear seems to lead me to it. But like in the dream, there's still that horrendous smell in this place. It really is an awful stench. But it's not too far off from how dearest Hannah smelled until they'd taken her to the morgue. Despite this, I can't bring myself to leave. So I sit down, looking at anywhere but the smears that have converged on one side of the wall. It only reminds me of the room upstairs where I'd briefly kept her. Why bother? There's also a pool of dark liquid near the wine vat, though I don't dare examine what it is. Some things I'd rather not know. Instead, I fixate on the colorful glass bottles that line the wall before I pull one out and pop open the cork from the bottle, taking a swig like I'm drinking water, or rather, a huge tug of the stuff. There's some delight when I feel a delightful burn in the back of my throat and realize that this isn't exactly wine I have in my hand. Whiskey. How quaint. This explains where the rest of the alcohol was. I really shouldn't be drinking. It's dangerous enough as it is to intoxicate myself if there's a killer on the loose, and Shrogan hasn't come back. I must look like some bum who's managed to scrounge enough money for a bottle of booze.
Anna would kill me if she saw me in here like this. Probably say something scathing and witty like... You might as well shoot yourself in the liver, Lucille. Really now? She was such a nag.
A morbid mockery of a tale directed at no one. Soon, choked laughter rings out in the wine cellar. Takes me a bit to realize that I'm the one who was laughing. My cheeks are wet with tears, too. Because, damn it.
I miss her.
It's stupid and crazy of me to still feel this way. It's my fault she's
I
gone.
wonder how it is. Are you in here, Hannah? Can you hear me? How is it, huh? To die? It must have been dreadful. No? I can't imagine it. I very much don't want to.
Look at me, talking about the horrible inevitably that is death. How depressing. It's any wonder that I haven't completely gone off the edge yet. Or maybe I have, and I just don't want to admit it. Could just be the alcohol. For a moment I have to stop drinking. The whiskey must have hit me harder than I thought. But then again, looking at it, I've nearly emptied the bottle. What's left of the amber liquid gleams tauntingly in the low light of the cellar. I really didn't mean to drink so much. I only wanted to take off some of the edge. But I might as well finish it off. Rick can always wait. Though it comes sooner rather than later when I feel my breathing become slow and irregular. My hands have long been cold and clammy around the time I was halfway through the bottle, but the urge to vomit has just started. Getting up to my feet is easier said than done. My coordination is basically shot to high hell with how much I've drank in one go. There's no doubt in my mind that trying to get up those stairs will be a struggle. But there's no way I'm going to vomit in here. I don't want the stench of throw up anywhere near my collection. The world spins even before I can get anywhere near the stairs, though I have to lean on the wall to stay standing. That's when a curious click echoes in the cellar. I have to question if it's my alcohol-addled brain making up the fact that the door just appeared out of nowhere.
This is interesting.
Perhaps if I'm more in a more sober mindset, I'll think twice about exploring unknown territory. I remember being wary after seeing this place in my dream. Running even, but I can't kick my curiosity to the curb so easily, what with the alcohol making me more adventurous. Besides, what's the worst that could happen? Descending even further deeper into the underground leaves me feeling rather disoriented.
What's in blazes? What's going on in the devil down here?
I want drunk Luke to be the only survivor. I don't even know if you can save him. Do we even get a choice in this chapter? Looks even more horrid than the one in my nightmare. Torches and chains hang along the walls, and cellars set into the brick. It doesn't even occur to me to ask how the torches are lit. That's what I asked, because I won't even be exaggerating if I say the whole place reeks of death. I hobble along down the passage. One hand trails along the wall, and the other still clutches the whiskey bottle I've emptied. There's a giddy feeling as soon as the shock passes.
If I knew this was here, I could have put it to good use. Maybe.
I have to stifle the drunk giggles that threaten to spill uncontrollably. It's a wonder for all the horrible things that might have happened down here. And it opens up a lot of questions about the history of the mansion. I'm no expert, but I don't think jails were a common feature in homes back then. How many people were locked up in here? What would they have even done to deserve this place? I can see little that speaks of its unfortunate inhabitants, though. Not until a particular cell draws my attention, or rather, something in it. On the far wall, there's a small pile of something in it, drawn together in a small mound as if someone has just hastily dumped them there. It's impossible to tell in this low light. Belatedly, I realize that the dark smear from the foyer going into the kitchen and the wine cellar ends here. That is not where my gaze lingers. A small stone gleams. Its dark color is stark contrast to the hay-littered floor. It is such a simple thing that I could have passed it off as another ordinary stone if not for the symbols painted on it in the thick cord. In my curiosity, I kneel down and reach an arm through the bars to retrieve it. Quick to get back up to my feet, however, scowling at the dirt on my knees. The stone is cold and heavy in the palm of my hand. An interesting trinket, an accessory most likely. It's a shame I don't know what the symbols mean. My using at the find is quick to fade, though, as a woman's laughter echoes in the passage. It's that woman's voice. I need to look to know that it's her. But that's a problem because I hear her, but I don't see her. I had been terrified when I first saw her. They don't call alcohol liquid courage or liquid stupidity. In this case, as I seek her out, the trinket slips through my fingers and, in its place, my knife.
Where are you? Show yourself!
There are eyes on me, but every time I turn around, there is nothing. Nothing but a horrid feeling that buzzes under my skin. Anxiety overpowers the haze of intoxication and wraps its arms around me, suffocating and straining. But terror doesn't take hold until I hear a whisper in my ear and familiar arms come from behind to rest across my chest.
You've come for me, my prince. I'm so happy.
The power was still off when Luke woke up. Brushing away the bad dreams, he went down to the wine cellar to find a drink that could help him sleep. Intoxicated, he stumbled into the same room he had seen his dream, and inside is... How are you wearing the necklace? her hands are running all over me. Something in me screams and snarls at the obvious.
You came home to us, and...
Get your hands off me! What do you want?
Though wrong doesn't quite paint a proper picture of what happens next. My scream is cut off the moment those hands push their fingers through my lips. I can't see what they really are as my eyes threaten to roll in the back of my skull and pain wrecks my entire being. I'm silenced and on the verge of choking, suffocating, drowning. I can feel everything. They crawl and slither down my throat like snakes, searching and filling every part of me, leaving slid skins and crushing my insides. My body shivers and the smallest of movements brings the greatest of pains. I feel like I'm about to burst. But no matter how long we stay like this, death does not come to bring me relief. Up, down, and around they go, until they converge around my chest where my heart should be, and they squeeze. Tears flow freely through my cries though my cries are muffled and snot drips down my nose. I'm not in control of my body at all, and I think, this is it, this is how I die. But then there's nothing. Nothing but lightness and air and the feeling of being emptied out, scraped raw. I feel sullied and tainted, like I've been dissected, torn apart, and poked back in the wrong order. My cheeks are wet as I snivel like a snotty child. But it rises in my throat and I want to be sick, try and throw up any remnant of what may have been inside me. I nearly forget about her in my devastated state, until she laughs.
Please! Please, no more! Please! Oh God, please! Somebody help me!
He sounded like Donald Duck, but her laughter only grows louder, echoing in my head. My heart seizes in my chest and I... die? I didn't even get a memory fragment for that one! A curious local discovers an eerily empty mansion months later. No one's looking for us for months. With its new owners having disappeared into thin air, whispers quickly spread across Luxborn City. Officers who investigated have found only smears of blood on the walls and floors, nothing else. Eventually, they have deemed the mystery of the Ermengarde mansion as another tragedy brought upon the city by the Anselm Butcher. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse that the secrets of the Ermengarde mansion have hidden for centuries. If there will come a time those will finally be revealed, only the hallowed halls of the mansion know. To this day, it stands silent. However, on nights when the wind howls and the thunder booms across the sky, some still claim to hear voices within, of cries and wails that fill the nights and desperate calls for help for anyone who dares listen.
Somebody! Please! Get me out of here! Help! Anyone! Help me, please!
Credits! See, we can't skip them this time because we don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna pause briefly to check the time. So that was the All Dead run. I think Luke's ending was a little underwhelming. Like, they didn't really do anything with it. Why did we even end up in the cellar? And they still didn't really directly show what happens to Johannes. I wonder if there are different deaths in this, but I don't feel like there are. Which would be a little disappointing. Well, I'm gonna pause it till we get nearer to the end. Just because this has been lengthy, so we're back. And we're back in time for the backers. I should be on there somewhere. Like the one random Japanese name in there. This is a really good song. Sergeant Pedro. I don't know if that's a real sergeant. I'm looking for my name. This is really loud. Jinapot Tree Jerion Watt. Is that a real name? Cotton candy cyanide. I saw my name. I'm not gonna tell you which one it is though. Chewy No Hands. So a lot of people back this, by the way. Gaming with Ben. Also, one of the singers for one of the songs was Elsie Lovelock, who I think sung for Charlie in Has-Been Hotel. Thanks everyone for playing. Hope you enjoyed the game. It's been fun being part of the production. I really appreciate the team's effort to incorporate what we suggested. Hope to see you somewhere again. I love you, Kylie and baby Jaden. Wonderful experience playing a game. Loved its development. Something Spanish. A lot of forward stuff. Oh my gosh, those viewers are going too fast! Special thanks to everyone. Don't thank Carl. Carl was a traitor. I love all the Lenny faces. You are terminated, I am the winner, and the master of stealth. Gino is my true friend. Hannah times Isabella, please. Thank you so much for playing the letter. We hope you had a blast. Can't wait to talk to you about it. Ying Yang Mobile. There better be an after credits scene. We sat through this whole thing. Like, nothing against credits, but these credits are too long, and you can't skip them. Oh, there's a stinger. Good.
Teal? Where are you, Teal? Teal? Please? She's here!
This might be the stinger that we would have gotten if... I think this is the stinger we would have gotten on my initial playthrough. Just a warning, this might be a little traumatic.
She's still here, Teal! Help me! Please!
Shattered Fairy Tale. So yeah, I think that's the one we would have gotten. So, apparently that happens if you don't get the true end. So, I'm gonna pause right now. I'm planning to reload. Or, I think I might just stop this part here, but we will be going back to do the thing with Ashton. Like, if we don't get him killed, because, you know, why not? We already have a save. So, thanks so much for watching. That concludes our Renegade playthrough. And I'll catch you next time. Bye!